Hey guys, I'm Matt, train level 943. Today we're going to be taking a look at this Union Pacific 412-2 from Lionel. When Lionel made the 412-2, they cataloged it in their 2012 Signature Edition book. It is on page 35, and it comes in these road names. The 412-2 that you're looking at now is product number 6-11344, and that's Union Pacific 412-2 number 9000. That's the gray one, and I'm going to get into the details on it in a few minutes. Now, I do realize that the gray 412-2 from Union Pacific is not a true engine. Union Pacific only ordered black 412-2s, and because of this, Lionel makes two black versions in addition to the gray version. And here's what those two black versions look like. There is one with just a regular style name that has Union Pacific on it, and then there's one that has 9000 road number on it and a shield. And this particular engine has white walls on all the drivers. Now, what's pretty cool is that this particular one right here, in my hometown, way back when, they actually had a facility that actually built that particular engine. And I don't have the book with me, but I got a book that has it in there, and I'll bring it next time and I'll show you that I actually have a picture of that particular engine, and it looks really, really cool. This locomotive is packed with wonderful details and features, so let's go ahead and zoom in and take a closer look. Here's a look at the pilot on the front of the engine. On the front of the engine, coming up very front, you have a dummy coupler. When you take it out of the box, that coupler will be a scale coupler. You can replace it with the dummy O-gauge one like I have on there. There's a chain and pin that goes into the coupler, and then you pull up on the coupler cut bar, and then you would take the pin, pull it all the way out, and then you can put the scale. You take the scale coupler out, and then you gotta undo a screw, and then the scale coupler will pop right off, and then you can install the O-scale one for double heading the engine. Now, I don't know if you guys know what makes the 412-2 so special or not, but what makes it special is that it actually has 3 sets of cylinders. There's the 2 normal ones on either side of the drive section, and then there's this one right in here. It's really pretty neat, and it's got a fantastic sound. And because of the 3 cylinders, there's a different chuffing rhythm. On certain engines, any other 2-cylinder, or even a 4 cylinders are a little bit different. But on a 2-cylinder engine, the chuffing sound is like 1-2, 1-2, and then on this particular engine, it's like 1-2-3, 1-2-3, and it even varies sometimes too on the speed. That'll change too. The rhythm will get faster, just like on a 2-cylinder steam engine, which is really, really cool. That's what makes the 412-2 special. Here's a look at the Smokebox front. On the Smokebox front, you have the handrail stanchion detail piece. You have air cylinders up on top. You have 9000, which is the road number on the engine. You have a nice decorative swinging bell. You have marker lights. Then you also have a headlight. And then, if you need to replace the lights, the front of the boiler pops open like this, and then you can get access to replace the light bulbs. Here's a look at the drive section on the engine. It's kind of almost hard to get it in a shot here, but this is a look at the drive section. As you can see, one of the cylinders right here. Then you got 12 drive wheels. You don't see many engines with 12 drive wheels, especially a non-articulated one. And to my knowledge, this particular engine is the biggest non-articulated engine ever made, which I can understand. On this particular engine, the front wheel way up here where the piston part is, That is a flanged wheel. Everything else, with the exception of this one, are blind. And then this one is flanged. And then right here, the screws, you can crack those screws off. And then on this particular wheel, you can replace the traction tire on it. And I have made a video on YouTube documenting this and how to do it. Here's a look at this side of the engine. On the side of the engine you have the builder's plate, which is legible under a magnifying glass. You have some pipe work detail, and then you also have some molded in pipe work detail right here. Here's a look at the top of the engine. On the top of the engine you have lighted number boards, which these light up when the charge power is turned on. You have an operating smokestack, which houses one of the two operating smoke units on this engine. Right here you have a pipe detail which runs down the side of the engine. Right here this hatch pops off like this to reveal the legacy control switches. Let's go ahead and take a detailed look at these switches right now. So as I said, this is where the switches are. And then to pull up on it, you can either do each side of the hatch cover, or you can pull up on the little chain very gently. It's held on by two magnets as well as little clips. These clips are direction apparent. You have to make sure this is going in the right direction. Our switches are the program run switch. I know I'm showing it upside down. The program run switch, the Odyssey 2 speed control on off switch, the main smoke unit on off switch, and then the auxiliary smoke switch, which controls the smoking whistle effect. And like I said, you have to make sure this is on the right way, or else it won't be seated properly, just like this. So you have to turn it around to make sure you get it on the right way, just like that. If you would have popped the top off of this dome right here, it reveals a fill hole with a little rubber ring around it, and this is the fill hole for the smoking whistle effect. So let's go ahead and take a look at the whistle detail now. Here's a look at the whistle detail. Now, I am not pleased with the way Lionel did this. What I mean by not pleased, I dislike the placement of the whistle, even though it may be prototypical on the real engine. That I don't know. I also don't care for the black trim around the whistle. That I don't like. And I also dislike the place of the smoke hole. I honestly am not thrilled with the place of the smoke hole. I really wish that what they would have done was done like they did on the Hudson, where the whistle is kind of diagonal, kind of, and I really don't like it, because here's a look at the Hudson whistle. This is what I was hoping it would be, something like this, where it would go down and you would have the smoke hole, but it's not. And I'm not happy with the way they did that. Now, the whistle sound is fantastic. It's a great whistle sound, and also, not only to add to that, the smoke output on this thing is horrible. And I'm going to show you a problem that we're having with it. I don't know if this is a problem or this is supposed to happen, but honestly, the amount of smoke you get out of this thing is almost nothing. It's pathetic. Here's a look at the outside of the cab. On the outside of the cab, you have two hatch vents. These hatches do not open though. And then up top you have some nice rivet detail. On the side of the cab, you have 9000, which is the road number. You have UP right here. And then you have some legible writing. Not sure how well you'll be able to see this, but here's a look at the inside of the cab. on the inside of the cab. You do not have any crew figures, which kind of makes me a little disappointed, is that there's no crew figures, but that's something I can get over real quickly. Inside of the cab, you have a cab light, and then you have a firebox that has a red bulb in to simulate the fire effect. Before we move on to taking a look at the tender of the engine, this is my pet peeve about the whole engine, is this tether assembly. My problem I have with it is not the tether. I love the tether, I love the wireless feature. The one thing I hate about it though is the close distance between the items. I dislike that because, for one thing, although I can understand the engine needs 72 curves, what big engine does not need 72 curves? I mean, come on. But what I don't like about it is that the distance between the two engines is so small that I can barely get my finger in here. I can't do it from the top. That's not possible. I have to go in here and do it from the bottom, which that's not a big deal in and of itself, but I really don't like the way they do this. And not only that, if you have the tether a weird configuration like this, where it's not connected to the drawbar pin on the other side, the tender will fire up in conventional mode, and I don't like that. And it's, like I said, it's kind of a pain to get it in there. I don't really care for the tether style. I also do not like how low it is too. And not only to add to this, but when you're running it, if you run it in reverse, sometimes what will happen is when you're going around like a curve or something, what will happen is the engine, if you're running in reverse, because of the tether connection, when you're running in reverse, sometimes the pin will fall out, and then when you're running it, you won't hear any chuffing sounds. That's because the pin fell out. And not only that, I don't know if you can tell in the video or not, but the pin, the amount of connection that you have is very little, and that I'm not a fan of. So I just wanted to point this out to you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the tender. On the tender coming up front, you have the reciprocal pin for the wireless tether connection. Up here you have a set of cold door detail, which looks really cool. Here's a look at the coal load. It's got a really nice real pile of coal here, which looks really cool. Here's a look at the side of the tender with the beautiful two-tone gray paint scheme. To come up top on the engine, you have handrail detail. You have operating red marker lights, which can be controlled by the remote. I'll show you how to do this in a minute. Then you have two hatches. This particular hatch right here does open, but it does not have anything inside of it. And then this hatch right here has the master volume control in it. Now, as nice as these hatches are, I don't like the way of the hatches. What I mean by that is that they're really oddly placed because they're synced very down, and it's really harder to get it open. I can do it with my finger, but it might take me a little while. And I can get it and then pop it open, but me personally, I'm not a fan of the way they do it, but that's me. Here's a look at the back of the tender. On the back of the tender, you have a operating backup light, which turns on when the engine is running in reverse. You have Union Pacific underneath that. You have a nice handrail piece underneath that. And then you have a emergency red light, which looks pretty cool. That turns on also when the engine is turned on, when the track power turns on. You have 9000, which is the road number on the engine. You have, on each side, you have ladder detail piece. And then you have an operating electrocoupler, which can be fired by the legacy remote. Okay, so before we get the engine moving, I just want to tell you my favorite feature on the engine. My favorite feature on this engine has to be the whistle. I love it. It's got a fantastic whistle sound. Now, I'm not saying the smoke unit, because as I said, I dislike the smoke unit, but the whistle is fantastic. So, and to run this engine, I did not mention it in the beginning part, but to run this engine you can use the Lionel Legacy system, which is the preferred method because you can get access to the most features that way. you can run it with the Cab 1L, which is the cross between Lionel Legacy and the Lionel Classic TMCC command system. And you can run it with Lionel Classic TMCC command system, or you can run it in conventional mode, which is a transformer and some track. Now, me personally, I'm running it with the Lionel Legacy expansion remote. You have to get the main set, but then you can also buy an expansion set for an extra remote. So, like I said, this engine is equipped with Lionel Legacy command system. It's got Lionel Legacy sounds as well as features. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those features. I'm going to go ahead and use the extended startup sequence, which is activated by pressing and holding the startup key.
Dispatcher here. Do you copy? Over.
I read you. Over.
Please start her up and stand by for track orders.
Roger that. Ready to move. Out.
Let's go ahead and listen to some of the sound features. You have the water tank full sound.
The water's full. Over.
Copy that. Out.
Now that was pressing and holding. If you just tap it, you'll get this. You have the cylinder blowdown effect. And you can hold it for as long as you want. You have the crew talk and tower crime sounds.
Dispatcher, my goal's at 3/4. Am I clear? Over.
Yes, you're good to go. Over.
Copy that. I got a clear signal. Out.
There's another one.
Dispatcher, we're ready. Is it okay to pull? Over.
No, please stand by. Over.
Yes, sir. Standing by. Out.
Dispatcher here. Please hold your position. Over.
Copy that. Holding for a signal. Out.
Dispatcher here. You are clear to pull. Over.
Copy that. We got your signal. Out.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to turn the lights on and off. On the front of the engine, you have the headlight and the marker lights. You cannot turn the marker lights on the front of the engine off, but what you can toggle is the Rule 17 on the headlight on and off. To do that, there is the Rule 17 button on the touchpad. You click Rule 17 off, and then the Rule 17 feature is off. That's what I personally use when I'm running the engine. Then you can have it on, and then just like on a new diesel engine, the engine's headlight would brighten up when it's moving, and then it would go dim like this when it's still. I personally like to have it off, but that's me. And to turn those back marker lights off, you use this button right here. You are off. For any of you guys who are wondering, there is no way to turn off the backup light independent of the headlight, and then there's no way to turn off this light here. To turn off the backup light as well as the headlight and marker lights and cab light, you hit Aux2. That will shut off every light with the exception of the number boards and that rear red light. You can control the cab light separately. To do that, you click on the cab light button. There's it off, there's it back on. Okay, so here's a look at the whistle smoke unit and the whistle steam effect here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the sounds down so that way you guys can't hear the whistle. I'll let you hear that in a minute. And then I just want to show you what happens when I blow the whistle. So that's what the whistle smoking it on, and it's supposed to be blowing out of the whistle, but it's not. And I just added smoke fluid to this too. So if I was to pop the cap off, watch what happens. I don't know if you could tell in the video, but the smoke is coming out of the roof hatch. And just to make sure you guys, I'll add a little more fluid to it. You can probably see it now. I'm going to shut the main smoking off so that way the smoke isn't billowing out of it. I don't know if you can tell on the video or not, but it is coming out of the main, out of the stack, out of the roof hatch, which that I don't like. But you know what? It's not that big of a deal to me. Well, it kind of is, but I don't really pay attention to the... Well, I pay attention to the whistle smoke in it, but I don't really care, you know? But that's me, so... Okay, I'm going to activate sequence control, so the sounds will be automated as we move the train. Okay, so let's go ahead and run it for a little bit. Well, that about wraps it up for this review video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're interested in purchasing one of these engines, all of them retail for just under $1,300. But of course, if you go through a good Lionel deal, you should be able to get a discount off that retail price. The black number 9004 with just the Union Pacific lettering, that has a product number of 6-113242. The 9000 with the shield, that one is 6-114343. And the gray one, like you see here, is 6-11344. Well, that about wraps it up. Until the next one, I'm Matt Chandler of 9943. We'll see you later.